All right, talking into my mute. That's all right. Just trying to get my bearings here. I need to get the link up for our live support so I can monitor the chat. Bear with me a minute, guys. Where would that be? Oh, I don't have the link handy. Hang on one second. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to put that on my other computer, Michael. I was hoping it would just pop up here as a notification. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to put it on my laptop so I can monitor other stuff. Well, put that on mute. All right, looks like we've got a few people tuned in. So since it's just a few people, let me see if I can again launch this on my other one. I'm going to type it. Welcome the few of you who have shown up. YouTube.com. Let's go to user. I need to bookmark it over here. Trade ideas /live. There we go. Beauty. Let's mute that one. Let's get rid of that one. All right. Hello, everybody. There he is. Hello, Sean. Yelling in all capitals. Sweeney B. How are you doing, Steve? I'm doing well. For those of you who don't know, this is my first day back to work, not being horizontal for most of the day, although I've been doing pretty good. I had knee replacement surgery 11 days ago. I guess today would be the 12th day. So, yeah, I'm a little hopped up on pain pills, which is making it fun. And trying to see if I can go a full hour here without having to go lay down again. But nonetheless, I did miss you guys. I did miss the markets. I was here watching, creeping in the and lurking in the background occasionally. But Tuesday is probably going to be my normal day to host our new format, the noon Eastern format. Let's see here. We're getting a few more people now. Very good. Hello, Mike C. Mike C has found his way to the room. So here's what I was looking at. We had a pretty textbook bounce in our NASDAQ. NASDAQ led us higher and NASDAQ led us lower. And I noticed last week, Friday, it tagged that simple 200-day moving average pretty definitively and closed higher. Big follow through yesterday. And then today, we got slapped right into the 10-period moving average, which is crossing that 50. And so just what I'm pointing out here is that perfect technical bookend for the most part. And if you add a little bit more flavor into it, which is not so much technical, price related. Thank you. Welcome back, Steve, says Malakan. Thank you. What is not textbook related is what the real story is here. What the real story is here is everybody started grumbling last Friday and especially over the weekend and yesterday. Where's our rate cut? So the quote unquote surprise rate cut that showed up earlier this morning was not indeed a surprise at all. It effectively was already priced in with all the rumblings and grumblings about where's our rate cut. It's not price cut, excuse me. Where's our 50 basis point rate cut? Well, we got it today. Let's switch over to the intraday action. We got it today. There's a big tall wick right there, which signifies that was the moment that the algo news readers were reading the 50 basis point rate cut. And ever since then, it's been kind of a middle finger back to the rest of us. So the significance of this, and I'm old enough to remember, and Sean's old enough to remember, and Jamie and Andy, if he's in here, when Alan Greenspan did this, we were kind of hinting at rational exuberance, and Greenspan was trying to keep the ball in play and didn't want to lose a recession on under his watch, election year coming up. And so they did a 50 basis point rate cut midday. And people were like, wait, what? What did Ron Antonin just say? And that was it. It was on. It was crazy. Some of the biggest traders I ever I watched back then made just six figures that day. They just killed it. They hit basket buy, and sat back, and put their cowboy boots up on the desk. Well, that didn't happen today. It's a totally different backdrop today. Um, Different market, different focuses. But the point being is that that one big bullet that everybody was just screaming for and has been screaming for the last few days, we just got a couple hours ago, and we're nowhere near our highs back then. It's been erased. So that when you couple that with kind of the tagging of the 200-day moving average, right? I'm sorry, the declining 10-day moving average right there. Again, a perfect technical bookend. Um, I got out of the longs and bought a little bit of VIX back. That's why I had VIX on the screen. In another account, I purchased that and just kind of have a placeholder here to keep an eye on it, roughly at that buy tag. It'll be a tight one. It won't risk more than a point and a half. So I mean, if it takes out basically the bottom down here, which was the rate cut, which was quickly absorbed back up by the VXX, if it gets back into this territory, I'll cut it. But it seems like kind of a low risk, not a free look, but kind of a low risk look. All right, so that's what I'm looking at. Let's come over here to the screen. Love the new format. The 12 o'clock new format is easy for everybody to find and easy to share the link. And you guys are obviously welcome to do so. But I look over here and there's not quite as many people as we had last week on kind of the inaugural launch of this new format. So, you know, I know there's some regulars in here. And again, I apologize for any grunting over the next hour if I try to find a new position. But fire away with any questions if you want. I will also, while you guys come up with questions, I will also address the fact that Trade Ideas had a little bit of a hiccup this morning with our data, which is kind of weird considering Robinhood had a bit of a large hiccup, vomit, heart failure of their data and their service yesterday. Their subscribers basically got what they pay for. They pay free, and they got kind of a platform that didn't cut the muster yesterday. So a lot of people were pissed off, and I'm sure class action suits are coming. And then I'm hearing E-Trade is having a difficult morning as well. And so weird that we've got all this volatility, all this crazy news out there, market gyrations, 1,000 points back and forth in the Dow before the market even opens some days. And now all of a sudden we've got these weird anomalies happening across some of the fintech, whether you're a broker or somebody like us. I don't think it hurts in saying we had some issues this morning, and the issues were our data center. And think about this for a second. Our data center, which is probably double, triple redundant on not losing power or not having glitches like that of the basic nature, I had one last night. So our guy Michael, who is a genius, was up in the middle of the night while we slept, and he's rebooting servers in sequence and trying to get everything going. Well, then the bell came, and we had a few issues with channel bar, a few issues with web login, and a few issues with brokerage plus paper trading mode. And those have all been, I believe, patched up and identified since the open. But back to the bigger theme, there's some weird stuff going on out there. I don't know quite what to say, and possibly Trade Ideas was akin to some of it last night with a very weird data center breach of power, which shouldn't happen. All right, a dozen people. Anybody have anything that they needed to talk about? I figured I'd at least start off with the data issue that we had this morning, so I thought somebody might be asking about that. If you are experiencing a data issue and you still can't figure out what's going on, the easiest thing to do is just close the program and then reopen it, reconnect to our servers where all the patchwork and all the corrections have been taking place in our server data center. That always is usually a good habit, or you can watch my screen right here. Sometimes you don't even need to exit the program. You can just come to account, reset connection, and you'll see the ball kind of freeze up there, and then a new pulse will start to come in, and you're just pinging around from one server cluster to another. But that is an option for anybody at any time if you see a problem with our data or with something not coming in. Oops, let's take a look around here a little bit. Hiccups. Did my data ever come back in? Look at that. How funny. Well, that gives us a good opportunity to try that again. Account, reset connection. There we go. Crazy. I've got I have two daily charts here, one with moving averages and the other without. The one without I've been using kind of as a clean slate to look at Brian Shannon's VWAP stuff. Let's see if there's anything interesting here in SPY from this low back this day. And I may have killed it. May have just identified another issue. All right, good times. Good stuff. Well, you guys don't have any questions, so that's okay. I'm just going to kind of work out, try to figure out if we're having another issue here. Let me go over to my support thread and see. Make sure I'm on the correct server. Primary. Well, then I'm going to close down and restart, or restart the program anyway. Let's see if that cleans out any issues. I'm not sure if I've been talking into my mute or not. I might have been. Apologize. Let's see, there we go. I was saying I've got two different charts here, one for moving averages and one for VWAP, anchored VWAP. And I tried to do an anchored VWAP here a second ago and it didn't let me, which makes me want to try again. SPY. Okay, that was already in the cache, so let's try that again. Just going to switch symbols and then go back. Let's try anchored VWAP. All right, interesting. So what I'm seeing is the price bounce today, even though we didn't have the 10-period moving average. 10-period moving average was a bit higher than the average weighted volume price, the anchored VWAP. Let's try the Qs and see what the AVWAP looks like on the Qs, just out of curiosity. All right, thanks, Mike. I might have been speaking into my mute there for a little bit. All right, I'm going to do a clean slate anchored VWAP on the low of the NASDAQ. Different picture. NASDAQ's way above its anchored VWAP, while the SPY is not. So some bifurcating data. However, the SPY is fighting to get back above its. Okay, interesting. Keep an eye on that. Let's go back and reconnect my Brokerage Plus because that needs to be reconnected when we log off and back on. There we go. There's just a couple of positions in there. This TNA was a bookmark that was sold earlier, so I'm going to flatten that on the paper mode. And there's just kind of a tag on the entry I took in our other account on the VIX. Seems like, and again, I'm predicating that on the NASDAQ bounced right up into the pocket. The pocket being this area right here. Moving average is coming to meet the price. Not a good idea to take long positions in the pocket. You're probably much more going to have much more success fading and going short on these bounces into the pocket, especially after vicious bounces. Now, we've talked a lot about the most vicious bounces in a market can occur after a big sell-off like this. We can have some crazy bounces just right straight back up, and then they can be met with a wall of resistance like this pocket. So that's kind of where I'm seeing and what I'm looking at today, where I think we are. Sector-wise, the gold miners are just fighting, but what a cluster over there. I mean, look at Newmont mining, just a crazy couple weeks here. Big breakout there. And if that wasn't enough to shake everybody out below what would be the ideal, perfect place to put your stop, I think everybody would agree there. They came out Friday and took everybody's stops out and said, thank you very much, and away they go. This is the market that we have to deal with these days, especially when you have volatility like this. You got to turn these kind of scenarios up, and the only thing you can do to combat it is to have extremely smaller sizes when you're trading. Smaller share sizes, I mean to say. You can downshift into like 1/3 your normal share size and still keep your pulse running in a market like this for sure. All right, any questions? Yeah, so AI is struggling today in the Neo mode for sure. Both longs and shorts just getting the volatility. I'm going to guess is just whipsawing a lot of these trades out. Now here's a short that should be re-examined. I mean, the volatility again whipped this thing right out. There's our stop out on the short. Volatility, as I was just saying, is downsizing your share size will give you more staying power. So that was an unfortunate stop out. But if we want to go to the Steve Gomez school of trade management, this 10-period moving average has grabbed a hold of the price because the AI got out too soon. Wasn't even testing that price yet, and is now throwing the price down to lows. And so it's unfortunate that the trade did stop out. However, this trade can remain on people's radar and should remain on people's radar going forward. The value in the AI Neo are the entries. And once the entry has been triggered, well, anything can happen, especially in a volatile market. But there was, in hindsight, no 10-period simple moving average reason to get out of that trade. This being a long, breakout long, stop hit. I don't. Oh, the stop was hit right on the open in the same candle. So I mean, I hardly even want to count that, but it is counted as a stop out. Volatility once again. Steve's moving average. Success, but now we bled below it and we're just kind of hanging around here. So the momentum has probably subsided for the most part on that one, even though the numbers down here don't reflect that. This one's a mess, obviously, to the downside. Short and popped right back up and going nowhere. And then another long that was stopped out prematurely, way too soon on the open, and then now is just kind of battling the 10-period moving average here intraday. So interesting when you dig into these trades, this doesn't really tell the story about what is happening. There's a lot of volatility that got people stopped out early, or the AI stopped out early, I should say, in conservative mode. But again, we always say adhere to the stops. But some people do what's called a re-entry and keep an eye on these things for a possible trade around. All right, I'm surprised we have not had any questions today, but that's all right. We are going to show up regardless for this drill, Monday through Friday. I'm sure Mike C, you got the memo. We're not doing it at 11 Eastern on Friday anymore. We're just bumping it up to noon Eastern, Monday through Friday, every day, same time, just to keep it simple. It's our motto in 2020. What can we do to simplify everything here? Questions on anything? Sure, Kyle. That's why we're here. So you got it. I'll do my best to answer. All right, welcome RJ. The name looks familiar. First time here? Yep. First time here for a lot of people because it's kind of a new format, RJ. But yeah, I'm just waiting on Kyle's question, having a sip of water, and we'll take a look. Sure. Kyle says I upgraded to a premium account, which gives you access primarily to the AI, and any tips on how to utilize the AI Holly properly. Sure, I will go over with you what I basically have told everybody, and I think it's still sound advice until anything changes. Obviously, we have the three channels here. Now, the third channel, AI Neo, is where I want to focus because the first two channels are being slowly reworked. Channel 2, Holly 2.0, is going to soon become a swing channel, which means the back testing and the machine learning and all that is going to be looking at longer term hold times, a few days at a time. So until Holly 2.0 becomes a swing channel, I don't really trust it as much. And then Holly AI 1.0 is our original version, and this one is going kind of an overhaul to kind of do what the AI Neo is doing. So, what is AI Neo doing, and why would I want you to maybe just focus on AI Neo? Because the new version here of Neo is to focus on, I'm going to highlight this up here, relative volume. 3.50. That means this stock's doing 3.5 times normal volume as a pace or a run rate at 12:22 Eastern based on what it normally does. In this case, it's the SPY. So the spiders are having a big volume day as far as their pace. But let's click into these Neo trades. I'm only segmenting. I'm right-clicking, segmenting, only Neo. So I'm not concerning myself with 2.0 trades or Holy Grail trades or all of them combined. I'm only looking at the Neo trades. And why is that? Because here we go. Focus on this upper area and right. This trade was doing 393. That's almost an Obama. We don't see those too often, but yeah, hey, this thing's on fire. It's doing something. This one's doing 8 times normal volume, and this is the example I talked about earlier. That moving average keeps throwing the price to lows. It is now on lows, doing it with 8 times relative volume. Extremely important. So this is where, to answer your question, how can I focus and whittle down the value of what I want to see in my proposition to you here is the value is in the entry of these ideas, and the value is in the, I'm going to clear that, the value is in the relative volume. Let's look at the next relative volume. 37 to 1. 2.97, we'll round up and call that 3 to 1. And then 576. So if I was to go show you some of the other older AIs, they might not necessarily concern themselves with volume the way Neo does. So use Neo as your platform. And again, if you were here for the exercise I went through a moment ago, I've got this 10-period moving average on my charts. And even though the AI stopped out because of the extreme volatility quickly in this trade, it never breached my 10-period moving average. And this trade is still very much alive. If somebody stayed in, didn't adhere to the stop, or got back in, or it simply watched and said, oh, that's a shame, and then took advantage of a really nice stop out and got a better price than those that did the original short here. But here's a trade that's on your radar now, given to you by AI Neo. So the answer to your question is focus on the AI Neo, and I tried to explain why it's important because of the relative volume functions for sure. Have we affiliated with bulls and bears? I think we are affiliated with some point. Sean might know. Yeah, Sean answered your question. Bull bear traders, yeah. Yeah, Sean dropped a link there for some ideas on swing trade. RJ Silva, got it. So, Kyle, that would be how I would approach the AI. Two-pronged. Let the AI Neo generate the symbol for you. You might not always necessarily have to participate, but you might get an opportunity to pull something back up and go, wow, look, this thing is just leaning right on that moving average here that Steve talks a lot about. Maybe right here I'll take an entry on this short, even though the initial short was down here. And no reason to get out of that thing at the moment. So volume, and then the second part is just move. If you don't have a 10-period SMA on a 15-minute chart, that is my golden time frame. It's what I've always used and will continue to use. Try and keep it simple as opposed to a couple moving averages and an oscillator and don't do anything unless it's overbought, oversold. Then you're just waiting for all the planets to line up and it makes it harder to do things. So Neo is the one to go with, yeah, for now. Now, if you're going to be wanting to do a lot more swing trading, Kyle, stick around because we will certainly announce when the time comes that swing trading is alive and well in the Holly 2.0 segment. And again, the difference in that soon to come will be in that the testing, the back testing and the optimization and the machine learning and all that was done with a timetable of 1, 2, 3 days in mind, hold time. I see that NEO had MITO on there, and that's the one I made profit on today. I appreciate it. Good. Let's just take a look at MITO. It was one of those crazy doing nothing trades and then comes to life. Okay, what is this? Pharmaceutical preparation manufacturing. Okay, I want to guess it might have something to do with what's going on in the news with bio um, warfare. I'm not going to say warfare, but the bio news out there. Who knows what it is? 578 times normal relative volumes. So let's run this through the prism of what I was just talking about. So let's say you got in some here. Let's say you sold some here. I love to sell when they're buying on a green candle. I love to sell some, get rid of a quarter, a third, what have you, on a nice big green candle on the way up. It's very satisfying. But when we come down here and look, yeah, we've seen some wishy-washiness, some back and forth. Now, technically, it did close. It did post a closing candle, and that's what I like to focus on. Did the candle close below the 10-period SMA? And that candle did, in fact, do it, but it didn't do it by much. So, I mean, it's a coin flip at that point if you just want to take your profits and get out, or stick around with a quarter or a third and see if you can get back in. But for the moment, this thing is hanging out and loitering here at my decision marker, the momentum line of the 10-period moving average. So yeah, I'm glad that the stock was in play for whatever reason you saw it, and I'm glad that the AI Neo kicked it. You're going to see a lot of these throughout the course of using this tool. Neo, stock that's just drifting lower, doing nothing, doesn't trade very much, nobody knows anything about it, and all of a sudden it's on the radar, and the AI trigger was a pretty decent trigger right there. Gave people time to get in. And even if you didn't get time to get in, maybe you bought this consolidation here, and right now you're barely in the money, and you're watching real closely. And if it breaks this level, you might get out. Many different ways to try and approach and play some of the ideas that come out here. All right, looks like we're all caught up on the public questions, and all right, we're up to the 20 mark now. So we run these for a half an hour, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be here for another half an hour. So if anybody rolled in late and you're lurking and want to sit on a question, you can go ahead and do that now. We can address it. Otherwise, I'm going on mute and taking some coffee. Here's a good example of kind of the double usage of the 10-period moving average that I mentioned earlier. The bookend here in the NASDAQ, 200-day base, the declining 10-period SMA. You can't see it, but it's touching right there, the 10-period SMA on the daily candle. Well, let's zoom into the intraday candle and see what's going on. There's our 10-period moving average. Here is our euphoric half basis point rate cut, which was quickly squashed. Lower high, and the closing price below the momentum line that I've been talking about. All right, fast forward a little bit, we bounced back up, caught that line, tried to trade through that line, and this is why I talk about waiting for the candle to close. The candle was unsuccessful in posting a close above the 15-minute there, 10 SMA, and now the price seems to be back a bit for the moment, back under pressure. This is going to kind of roll over, and we'll see what happens, but it was a quick example of how I can look at both time frames quickly and kind of get an idea of an important level. It doesn't mean do anything at this level. It just means this is a level of interest on the daily anyway, and that's where the sellers certainly jumped in. That's where the algorithms certainly jumped in and stopped the euphoric momentum of the half point basis, 50 basis point cut that everybody was already expecting, including the market. Kyle says I was able to get in before the halt. So the blue line is where Neo would have alerted. That is correct. That blue line. just taking it slow over here, physically and trading wise. I mean, not this Monday, not yesterday, but the Monday prior last week was the big ugly week, and that was the week I was gone and going away. I looked at everything and said, there's just nothing in our right mind that I could call out for the trade idea as trade of the week. So don't like to do it often, but I said, it's time to go to cash, and that was a good one. So I'm still adhering to my go to cash call from last Monday. Just kind of nibble on something here and there, primarily ETFs, actually only ETFs, because they are the most fun to play when the market's moving, in my opinion. Because if you can get on the right side of something, like the TNA that I rode for a day and a half, coming back up, would have liked to have gotten out on the news, but didn't. Had to wait for that stupid candle closing, so a lot of the profits was gone on that. But the point being is playing triple ETFs, I like. Now I'm back in the VXX, which moves pretty quickly as well as an ETF. All right. Please analyze SPY. Interested your take on it. Yeah, I did focus a lot on the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ was a hell of a lot cleaner in terms of what it has been doing. But if we look at the S&P, the SPY, the bounce, we'll start with the bounce last Thursday, made sense on a price level point. If you look at that red line back here, a lot of congestion, a lot of base building and price support. So big levels of support there. Bounced through and closed above our 200-day moving average yesterday. We are trading above our 200-day moving average now, but we didn't quite get to, like the NASDAQ did. We still have a little space here. Now that can go one of two ways. That can either say we're going to wait until we touch that before we do anything significant, or that's close enough and the price might really fall away from that. So here's my big takeaway for the SPY. The SPY needs to close above this 200-day moving average today. We traded below it and the buyers stepped in. But if we roll back down and we have a close below this 200-day moving average, that's not going to be good. It's going to be a lot of if then, close below 200, then what, algorithm reassessments out there. So that's what I'm looking at today. I don't want to see the SPY close. If you just want to have one goal for each day, it would be let's close above that 200-day. But then that's just going to bring into question what's going to happen to the high end of the candles when this moving average readjusts and redraws tomorrow and comes down. Is it going to give us even a more narrow range day? So I'm watching the 200 and I'm watching this 10. And it's a lot of crazy drawing there, but I think that's where the price is going to vacillate and bounce back and forth, just like the NASDAQ and Qs have already demonstrated to us that they're willing to do something like that at the 200 and at the declining 10. So that's what I see to answer your question there for SPY analyzation. I'm not bullish or bearish here. I think we're going to squeeze in between 2 points. That being said, certainly didn't care for the apathy of follow through of buying in the half a point basis cut. So the market's clearly not focusing on rates and point cuts and things like that. The market's focusing on this virus and how bad is each one of these companies. Probably going to have a single one-off charge-off, and then hopefully the market and the economy can get back to a normal pace. But that's probably what we're looking at. I mean, I don't care what company you are out there, you're probably going to have your supply chain disrupted, and it's going to affect some companies a lot more than others. It will probably affect our indexes here for at least a good quarter. So the volatility is probably going to remain here for a while. But I think, best case scenario, a lot of these companies say, yeah, this is our one and only coronavirus charge-off. And after that, we see clear skies. We'll see what happens. I try to analyze the price only, not try to get down that what-if rabbit hole of the other stuff I was talking about, supply chains and things like that, because I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to supply chains. And I just know that we put way too much emphasis over there on our friends in China, with 80% of our antibiotics and generic drugs left up to them. And when they don't show up to work, that can raise an eyebrow as to do we want to keep doing that? Maybe it's a good blessing in disguise where this time 2 years from now we've got some great Midwestern small factories cranking out really good generic medicines and antibiotics. The virus is in charge, sweetie bee, you are correct. And it's hard to judge that, and it's hard to judge how people are going to react. They're already making runs on Costco here in California, cleaning out. Apparently, toilet paper is the number one Armageddon supply. Toilet paper, paper towel, and water. All right, I will go another 20 minutes. I think my knee will allow that. And that's what our schedule is anyway, so we're all caught up. If anybody has any program platform related questions, we can talk about that. But I think we all agree it is a virus run market right now. And all we can try and do is judge the price action based off what we get. And that's why I think a closing price above the 200-day moving average is going to be pivotal for the S&P today. And I don't like this. I don't like that rejection of half a point base cut, even though everybody was expecting it. Somebody made a great point the other day. He said, who would have thought, and I'm probably going to screw this up in terms of the definitions, that your yield plays were in stocks and dividends, and your outright percentage move plays were going to come in the form of treasuries, meaning the appreciation in price in the TLT. You know, you want to buy treasuries back here, it's 140. You want to buy it today, it's 155. Without appreciation in price, people can enjoy as well. So usually we're looking for appreciation in price in equities, and we're looking for dividend yield or yield in treasuries, not in stocks and equities. Everything's just completely back asswards is what I'm trying to say. And I'm, again, just a student of price action. I get kind of lost when we get into the bigger picture stuff. Put a tie on me, I go sit on CNBC and talk my book. Let's see, what else might need attention? Well, we're still together for 20 minutes. Only price pays, yeah, you better put a TM besides that and pay your licensing fee. Lick the stamp and send it in, Sean. It's like singing happy birthday. They're gonna ding you for that in a sitcom. Question, what do you think the market reaction would be if they started canceling sporting events? Well, you know, I had lunch with a friend of mine yesterday, and he's not a trader, but he's a smart guy. He's been involved in a startup, and he can see big picture stuff. He's a little concerned at more people not talking about it. What's going to happen when your kids are going to be homeschooled for the next 30 days, or sporting events? Boy, I saw a surreal thing in Europe. It was Yeah, it was a football match, soccer match, and the stadium was empty, and it was a covered stadium, and so the players said the surreal sound of hearing a guy up in a booth 1,000 feet away yelling "Goal!" And that was all you heard. There were no cheering, there were no stands. He said it was absolutely freaking surreal. So yeah, NCAA basketball, for instance, I think we're at a real pivotal week here, week or two. My daughter wants to travel to Cancun at the end of this month for spring break. I'm not exactly excited about that, but we're going to sit and wait and see how things plan out. But yeah, when people don't start showing up to events, that just adds to the psychological fear out there. And again, I think it's a foregone conclusion. We're going to be talking about most companies are going to talk about the big nasty quarter one charge off from the virus. It's just how bad and how long will it last, and has this market priced all of it in just yet? Don't know. Um, Currently, we're still struggling, so we'll see if we can close above the 200-day moving average in SPY. It's going to be a very unique thing. I started having fun the other night trying to think of all the fun stock plays. Netflix, all right? Netflix and chill. Definitely Grubhub, bring me that food. Um, Blue Apron, send me that food. Slack, work. And we already, our company already has adjusted. We already work from home on Slack, so it's not going to affect us at all. But it's going to affect a lot of people that have to go downtown and put their rubber stamp and signatures on things, and it's going to be an interesting week. But if people don't start showing up to NCAA events, that's going to put a real psychological psyop smear and will probably translate into more market selling. But we'll just hope for the best, meaning at this point, a one quarter charge off on all the earnings reports and conference calls next time, with blue sky horizons in both the news and you know lack of spread of this thing. Yeah, the Olympics too. They're definitely and in the wrong part of the globe as well. Yeah, a headline like that could probably take 500 Dow points. So if you're sitting here long thinking you got great prices, you just need some good news, you're gambling. You're waiting on some good news, and chances are critical thinkers out there like Sweeney's talking about here, what's going to happen when empty stadiums are showing up on TV and screen, and people are going to say, well, how does that affect me? Already we woke up here to the local news talking about plans in place here in San Diego and California to for possible homeschool. They're probably scrambling for all these tech companies to get a bid on the emergency fund and get their piece of the pie to have all the students and parents download some sort of stay-at-home class software. Not by design, but by force. So yeah, the market reaction with each little trickle of that happening, it's probably not good, sweetie B. It's just going to be one more little cut. But for the moment, price action is kind of going to sleep here. We'll see how we close by the end of the day. Exactly. Yeah, I forgot about that CHGG being a homeschooling technology. For the moment, nobody seems to be really interested. It's bounced up at its moving average. I might come up here and do something like this. Just put a price alert. Why did I put Chegg in there? Because it's homeschooling, Steve. That will remind me when it pops up. Okay. Earnings, February 10th behind us. This direct student learning. Yeah, good call there. So Sweetie B is starting to leverage his knowledge of companies out there and how they might benefit. Yeah, wake up this morning, you see actual school administrators talking about something like this. This could be a company that benefits. Oh, let's play with our new toy, shall we? Who else might be in there? Similar. Let's click similar. And there seems to be some ideas in here. I don't know half of these names. New education. All right. So, hey, if you weren't aware of that, sweetie, um, plug it in and come here. If you don't have our new version, download the new version. And if you have the similar tab, now we can start to see what type of other industry companies might be in the same space. And something could pop out and show itself as a good looking chart. Oh, Tal, I didn't realize Tal. This one's been a monster. Look at that. Even though that's not the best buy point, this one's looking good. This was a trade of the week back here. Trade of the week in Tal, I believe, was back in here. So here's a great real-time working example of how to use this new feature. Kicking around ideas of what's happening out there and what could happen. And as they say, chance favors the prepared mind. And the prepared mind is saying, well, shoot, forget Hollywood. Who cares about them? I'm not going to see them, not go to the movies. Let them wallow in their own. But what about my kids and their schooling? Well, they're gonna have to figure something out about that. So we typed in CHGG, knowing that this is an interesting market segment, but it opens up the similar tab to let us come through and see other competing ones. And I didn't even really think about half of these. So if I had to go through, and the ones I liked, that's not that bad. It's holding the 50-day moving average, but there was a couple not too bad in here. That's a nice sell-off wick down there, but this one might have low volume. EDU's hanging in there, and TAL is hanging in there. This one's trying to consolidate after some interest. This one could be one to watch. Just popped up off the lows over here with some volume. It's paying attention. Now it's consolidating. That one could be one to keep on your radar. So this is the workflow. You can come through here and find these and then mark them up with a price alert and notes in your price alert as to why and what you're looking at. All right. Where's the similar tab? If you need to update the most recent version, so you go to our download page, scroll down to the beta version, and if you get into our beta version, the single stock window will now have a similar tab for you. That's all you really need to do is just get into the newest beta version, and you'll have that ability to locate similar stocks as well. It's really nice. Very nice new feature for just the type of exercise that we're going through here. Do the price alerts persist through the week? Oh, no, they're server side, Kyle, so you don't have to worry about them. Once they have triggered, the only way to get rid of them is to go in and delete them on the server side. So my price alerts, here's the ones I've got working. Let's say I just want to clean out all the ones that have been triggered. I'm going to highlight that row. It'll essentially do that for me. And I'm going to delete the 9 selected price alerts. So that has just removed them from my server cloud. So the answer is your question, they are always working. So I just keep that minimized, and if something pops up, it'll splash in my face, and it will give me also the audible alerts, which you would want to do as well. Right click, go to actions, and make sure you've got play sound set up. I've got text to speech set up. So I'm going to hear and see an event if any of those trigger that just popped in. So that's why the price alert is a great second step feature, a 1-2 punch feature to allow you to scan the market using bigger scans, and whether it's that similar tab we just spent a few minutes on, or whether it's a top list, and then pulling 3 or 4 ideas out of a dozen, and then honing in on them by setting that price trigger alert, popping in your notes, and then taking it from there. I call it set it and forget it, and those are usually my best trades. I've slowly kind of circled in on them. I'm not sitting here waiting. See, a lot of the mistake that some people get into, and some people can do it, but it's a mistake to think that you can just come in and create the perfect scan that you like, because it's worked for you in the past, and build an alert window and sit back, and every single alert that comes out in real time, if you buy it, you're golden. That's not a good assumption to make. I like to slow things down a little bit and use top lists and bigger curated lists, and then zoom in on the ones that seem to be setting up, and then using that price list for that last mile notification, if you will. Is the SPY guiding hand steering us lower? I don't know. Let's see. It's trying. It's not happy at the moment. More importantly, Sean, that half basis point was just immediately discredited. And then the moving average has gotten a hold of it there and there and there. So 3 tests roughly of that level so far. Yeah, it's got a hold of it for the moment, but still a long day. Let's see where we close. Was your knee surgery a result of past sports exploits or extra musicianship on a live stage? No. I'm going to just plead the fifth and say nothing really good happens after midnight. I was just doing something I shouldn't have been doing. We'll just leave it at that. I'd love to say that it was like, full on stage dive or something, but it wasn't. Close, but not quite. So I've paid for it for the last few years, and this is the last one. If you only Sean knows. That's right. You only live once. But I tell you, nothing good happens after midnight and a free open bar with really good cocktails for somebody who doesn't drink very much. We got a few more minutes together, guys. Any questions? Okay, Jose downloaded the beta version, not getting the similar tab. Is there another step? What version are you running? Go to help and then about. I'm running version 136. So if you're on like 135 or 136 and you're still not getting it, well, then I wouldn't know what the correct deal would be there for the right version. You may need to drop into info@trade-ideas.com, let them know what version you have. And if you haven't tried, closing down your old window and then launching a new window, that might be just as simple as that. It might not just show up for you. You might need to open a new single stock window. Is 136 out yet? It might not be. I'm not sure what the correct version is. Let's just take a quick look here on the website and answer our own question. So I'll go to our slow to load website. All right, Kyle, have a good one. Have a good day. We'll see you anytime you decide to drop by. So trade-ideas.com is not loading at the moment. For me, anyway. It's probably slow. It's having to do with our server farm issues. Here we go. Download software. Let's see what we get when we scroll down to the beta. Okay, so this, what is this going to give me? It's going to give me, I don't know which volume that is. Let's see. It would be pointed out here in the S button, profile tab. Okay, so made the following changes to the single stock window. It may be that, if you download this version here and it's not on there, then we've solved the problem. It's going to be on the next beta that will be available to you and coming shortly. So sorry for any confusion, but good to know it is coming. Barry's having issues too. Yeah, it's just been one of those days. It's really crazy. All right, last call for a last question here before I got to get up just to get down and lay down for a minute. 134 is the latest. Okay, I'm pretty sure you're going to need 135 or 136 to get that. So next one, Kamen Jose, will be the one for you to get that really cool insider, not insider, but similar stocks that are similar. Coming soon. And yeah, look at that moving average game is still being won by the bears here for the most part. We'll see where it takes us. Thank you, Mike C. Thank you, Jose. All right, I think we're approaching the top end of our hour here. I'll be looking to see where we are at the end of the day. Hopefully the S&P, for the bulls' sake, is above the 200-day moving average. I don't know if I have that much conviction. I bought VIX after the rejection of the half basis point cut was kind of poo-pooed and snubbed. So we'll see what happens. And then just inversely speaking, the moving average is supporting this as I would expect. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Safe trading, everybody. Remember, you don't need to go full size out there. Full size goes quickly in this market when things are as volatile as they are. You can downshift to half size and still get incredible movement on the stuff that you do. So just keep that in mind. You can't control price action, but you can control your own share size. And from there, it makes the emotions easier. And if you can make the emotions easier, it makes trading a bit more easier. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'll see you the next time I grab control. Bye-bye.